With summer in full swing, I feel that familiar urge to refresh my closet, but I'm not trying to waste money on pieces that I'm going to wear once or for just one season. And that's where Quince comes in. Their clothes are timeless, feel luxurious, look elevated, and the quality is way beyond what you'd expect for the price. I just got a white linen maxi dress. Now, if I had paid for that dress in a department store, I would have paid $170. Well, guess what? I got it for $69. And by the way, that same dress comes in blue pinstripe. Think 100% European linen top starting at $30. Washable silk dresses and skirts and soft cotton sweaters. Versatile warm weather pieces that you're going to reach for again and again. And the best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. So you've got to give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/Kate Casey for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Kate Casey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Kate Casey.
You've done it again, finance teams. You closed the books and it went fine. Sure, some expenses were missing receipts, but that's fine. Stayed late to process invoices by hand. It's all fine. But don't you deserve better than fine? With Ramp, expenses are submitted with a text, invoices are coded automatically, and everything is connected to your accounting system, so you can close the books without all the busy work. Switch your business to Ramp.com and love finance again.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey, and welcome back for this Saturday series episode. I hope that you have gone through the last week of episodes. I've had some great guests, and I don't want you to miss out on any of them, especially because some of them will create some great conversations for you this weekend. I also posted on my Substack a few new books for you to read this summer, part of the Reality Life with Kate Casey book club selection series. So with those upcoming interviews with the author, I want to make sure that you get those books and that you take some time, crawl away to a corner on a beach, wherever it may be, and read a great book this summer. So go to katecasey.substack.com. Also, next week, I have fantastic guests as well. So make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast so you get alerts of new episodes. And also make sure that you're in the Facebook group, Reality Life with Kate Casey. I'm so excited about today's episode. My friend Johnathan Walton is an Emmy-winning former TV reporter and a powerhouse reality TV producer with credits on major hits for NBC, ABC, HBO, Disney Plus, and the Discovery Channel. But his most gripping work came from real life, not television. After being conned out of nearly $100,000 by a woman claiming to be an Irish heiress, he turned his story into Queen of the Con, a hit investigative podcast exposing some of the most outrageous scams and the people behind them. Now, I've had the honor of being a guest on 2 seasons of Queen of the Con, and Johnathan and I bonded right away. Why? Because while he was conned by a woman faking an Irish identity, I grew up with a dad who did the exact same thing, fake brogue and all. In his new book, Anatomy of a Con Artist, which is out August 19th, Johnathan unpacks 14 psychological red flags nearly every con artist uses based on years of firsthand investigations, including his own. Now, at the center of his story is Marianne Smith, also known as Mare, a master manipulator who used more than 20 aliases, from psychic to cancer patient, even pretending to be Jennifer Aniston's best friend. She scammed victims across the US and Europe, and thanks to Johnathan's relentless work, she's now facing extradition to Northern Ireland for her crimes. Today, he joins me to talk about the anatomy of a scam, how to spot a con artist before it's too late, and why exposing fraud has become his life's mission. Here's my interview with Johnathan. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back on. I'm thrilled to be here.
Love to see you and thrilled that you have a new book. But before we get into that, I want you to go back and tell everyone listening about this bonkers story that happened to you, which sadly, don't you think the longer the time goes on, you realize this has probably happened in some way, small or large, to most people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I definitely have a unique perspective because, after Police turned me away, and I pushed back and started my own investigation and uncovered dozens and dozens of victims of my con artist, the Irish heiress. And then I got her charged, convicted, sent to jail for 5 years. She got a 5-year sentence. The press exploded with stories about me and how I was victorious in this fight against this woman. And I suddenly started getting contacted by hundreds and hundreds of other victims of other con artists, literally from all over the world, asking for my help and advice, telling me I inspired them. They want to go after the person who conned them. So that's kind of how I learned. I figured out these 14 red flags of every scammer, including my con artist, because they kind of emerged while I was investigating all these cases. I'm like, these are the same techniques. And to answer your question, the reason why this is happening to most people and no one's talking about it has a lot to do with what I write about in the book. It is red flag number 13, TMI. Red flag number 13, too much information. This new person in your life, and this happened to me, and I'm sure this happens to most victims, they kind of snow you with too much information about themselves. They share with you their deep, dark secrets. Mine did that to me. They all do that. So we're human beings, right? It's like if someone says, hello, you're going to say, hello. Someone says, how are you? You're going to say, I'm fine. How are you? Like we react exactly to what's given us. So when a new person in your life starts sharing these deep, dark secrets, immediately you think two things. You think, one, oh, I can trust them. They're sharing these secrets with me. I can trust them. They must trust me, so I can share my deep, dark secrets. The only thing is, their deep, dark secrets are fake. They're lies. They're made up. Your deep, dark secrets are your deep, dark secrets. So by the time the money exchanges hands, you don't want to go to police, because the last thing in the world you want is for your deep, dark secrets to be in a police report, or worse, a court transcript. So you don't go to police. And I have so many victims who reach out to me for help. And the first thing they tell me is, if I go to police, do I have to use my real name? I'm like, yeah, that's like the most basic ground floor thing. You have to use your real name, but they don't want to, because it's a technique con artists use to keep victims quiet, TMI.
Also the shame. I feel duped. I feel stupid. A lot of people,
right,
which frustrates me. And I always try to say to people, the shame is on the person that did this to you.
Absolutely. They should be ashamed. But yeah, I mean, shame is a powerful feeling. And I get that a lot. Well, you're such a smart guy. How did you get scammed? And I say this in the book again and again and again. Con artists don't outsmart you. Con artists outfeel you. They get you to care about them, or they get you to care about a cause that they've created out of whole cloth. And once you're making decisions based with your heart and not your head, you're as good as conned. That's how they get in. They're not going to outsmart you. My con artist didn't outsmart me. Proof of that is she's sitting in a jail cell right now, halfway around the world in Northern Ireland, awaiting trial. She got extradited solely because of me and what I did. She didn't outsmart me. She outfelt me. She made this emotional connection with me early on. And I loved her like a sister. We were ending phone calls with, I love you, I love you. For 4 years, this woman took me for a hell of a ride. And I come to find out later, while she's scamming me, she's got dozens of other victims with dozens of other identities and stories. Like, she was so good, so good. Hats off. I applaud her creativity. I'm envious of it. But she is an evil, evil woman.
Also, people need to remember that most scammers play the long game. It's not like they show up in your life and a week later they try to scam you. They are very good at playing the long game.
Exactly. And they know they bought the silence of all their victims with these techniques they use that I unfold in my book, Anatomy of a Con Artist, the 14 Red Flags to Spot Scammers, Grifters, and Thieves. These 14 red flags are present in every case I've investigated over the past 8 years. And the way they keep their victims quiet, again, that TMI technique, they learn all your secrets so that by the time they get your money, you're not going to tell anyone. And you know what? Your silence is enabling them to scam other people, and no one's talking about it. Everyone's ashamed. Everyone's embarrassed. Nobody wants, their secrets to get out. And the con artist just walks away.
So let's go back to your experience with the Irish heiress. And we put that in air quotes. So walk us through what happened to you. And I think that this is important because it also sets the stage for this incredible fight that you launched and ended up winning, and really set the stage for you to create this podcast series and this book.
Absolutely. In the end, you're probably going to be scratching your head and ask yourself, well, who conned who? And good.
Yeah.
Good. And I like this full story, full circle moment. In the beginning, I was the marionette doll being manipulated. But in the end,
joke's on her.
Yeah, I got her extradited. Were it not for me, she'd still be scamming. God, I've saved untold numbers of people from her. She was a ravenous vulture, moving from town to town, state to state, racking up victims with crazy stories. And again, they're crazy when I tell them, but when you're going through them with her, they're believable. She is endlessly charismatic. She is a professional liar. She's been scamming since she was a child. I heard from her childhood friend at 10 years old, she's tricking other 10-year-olds. Like, she's a psychopath. This is what they do. And then people always ask me, well, she's so talented. If she'd have used her talents for good, she'd go so far. I'm like, yes, but that's not how psychopaths operate. She enjoys the con. They get this, and they all do. And it's not always about money. A lot of her scams didn't involve any money, but they get this godlike sense of power from creating these worlds that do not exist, creating these characters, and watching with glee as everyone falls for it. It's like they're directing a movie. They cast us victims as actors, and we have no idea. We have no idea until the end. And even then, some people don't want to believe it. I've talked to victims who are like, I knew something was weird. I suspected something, but I gave her the $30,000. I'm like, you didn't suspect anything. Like, you gave her money. Of course you didn't suspect anything. If you did, you wouldn't have parted with so much money. But people cannot face what happened to them. It's a self-defense mechanism. I can't own up to this. So I got to say that I knew it was going to happen. No, you didn't. But, everyone's at different stages of evolution. We have to respect their journey. But this woman, she came into my life the way most con artists enter their victims' lives. She offered to help. And that is red flag number one I write about in the book. They offer to help. Who doesn't love a new person? Could be new boyfriend, new girlfriend, new coworker. In my case, it was a new neighbor who offers to help. And the help she offered, I live in this building downtown, and we have this really huge swimming pool. It's like an oasis in the concrete jungle that is downtown Los Angeles. And we lost the pool. Our building lost the pool through some legal spat with another building. So I held a meeting in my apartment. I galvanized all the neighbors. And looking back, this is her brilliance as a con artist, right? She saw the flyers that I posted. Let's get the pool back. Let's band together. And she thought to herself, I'm just speculating, but I'm 99% sure I'm right. She thought to herself, this guy's a do-gooder. I'm going to get him to do good for me. And based on that flyer alone, without ever having met me, she knew how she was going to get me. And she was 100% right. She comes to the meeting. We have, 20, 30 residents in my apartment, and we're all angry. And she, is like, I say this in the podcast, she's like Eva Perón on the Casa Rosada, talking to the masses. I can get the pool back. I'm dating, this powerful politician who's a partner in a law firm who sued this building twice and got so much money. And we all loved her. We all fell for it. And she ended up not only scamming me, but a bunch of other people in my apartment building. But here's the truth. She had no power to get the pool back. That was all just a lie to get in. And it worked. She got in. So after that, she takes my husband and I out for dinner. She wines and dines us, and she starts unpacking this story about she's locked in this fight with her family over Irish inheritance. And she shows me, again, I write about this in the book. It's a red flag of technology, right? A con artist will use digital screens to sell their story. That is present in every single con I've investigated over the past 8 years. How many times has someone held up their phone to you and said, look what so-and-so just texted me? Did you ever think it wasn't so-and-so, that it was actually a fake character this person created with another account to text themselves to sell you that story? No, we don't think that way, but con artists do.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. No matter how hot your summer gets, Liquid IV can help keep you hydrated for the adventures ahead. This summer, I'm traveling with my son Jack for lacrosse tournaments. Hot, blazing, sunny afternoons. There is nothing that tastes as good and keeps you as hydrated as Liquid IV. I just tear, pour, and enjoy. And I'm calling out to all of you parents who will also be watching your athletes this summer. This is a game changer. The sugar-free options include white peach, lemon lime, rainbow sherbet, and the new Arctic raspberry. But they've also got cotton candy or popsicle firecracker. Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Squeeze the most out of your summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code Kate Casey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code Kate Casey at liquidiv.com. Summer is my favorite time of the year. Nothing is better than a backyard party. Do you love having people over to enjoy the warm weather in your outdoor space? Do you need ways to entertain the kids while they're out of school? Well, if you're having a backyard get-together, Wayfair is your one-stop shop for outdoor entertaining. Cookout, shop patio tables, grills, and dishware. Pool party, kick back with lounge chairs, day beds, and umbrellas. Game night, Wayfair's got cornhole, croquet, and string lights to set the scene. And with fast and easy shipping, it's never been easier to get ready to party. So however you kick back, you can go to Wayfair for effortless entertaining and game-filled gatherings. I live in a neighborhood with houses that look like Cape Cod, which is where I spent time as a child. It's one of my favorite places in the world. And with Wayfair, I can decorate my entire house and my backyard with the most beautiful white furniture that takes me back to Chatham. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. And the best part, free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. I can't even tell you, I feel like I ordered it and came right away. Shop outdoor furniture, grills, lawn games, and way more for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to explore a huge outdoor selection. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
So yeah, Mare used digital screens to sell me her story. I saw emails and texts from her barristers in Northern Ireland, from her family, these Irish names, Tristan and Dermot, and her uncle, Patridge Clark, with the 25 million euro estate. He's the one who died. And I saw all of this. This took place over emails and texts, so I knew it was true. Add to that, she would cry on my shoulder. Like tears wet the collar of my shirt. She's convulsing and I'm rocking and comforting her. It's going to be okay. When her uncle died. But here's the thing, her uncle didn't die. There was no uncle. This was all fabricated, but she's crying. Like she could cry at the drop of a hat. I'm talking Demi Moore in Ghost type tears. Like there's no way you could have convinced me those tears weren't real, but they weren't real. This was all an act that I fell for. And over the course of the 4 years of our friendship, we got closer and closer. After she wined and dined, she pulled another red flag that I write about in the book, red flag number 8, beak wedding. Con artists, a lot of them, will give you a little money up front, to make you confident in loaning them more money down the line. So the first $5,000 I ever loaned her, she paid me back the next day. Come to find out, she didn't actually pay me back the next day. The politician she was dating/scamming paid me back the next day. She scammed him to pay me because she needed to prove to me that she's a woman of her word. And it did that. I thought, oh, this is a woman of her word. I can trust her. So yeah, I ended up loaning her way more money. And, I want to punch myself in the face for even saying this out loud, but it's the truth. I was helping an Irish heiress get her inheritance. And I know how dumb that sounds. But again, I got sucked in. She was a damsel in distress, and I've spent my life. Yeah, I'm a do-gooder. And she crafted the perfect con just for me. And she did that to all her victims. I write about in the book Bob. Bob is this Newport Beach engineer, super smart guy. He owns 2 homes. He met her on Tinder. She's dating. Con artists meet victims everywhere. They date them, they move in beside them, they work beside them, they run into them in the supermarket. They'll meet a victim anywhere. So in this case, Mare, and this is while Mare is scamming me, she's dating Bob. And on their first date, Bob tells her, I'm not happy with the custody arrangement. I've just gone through a divorce and I don't like the custody arrangement with my kids. She pulls out red flag number 1 again. She offers to help Bob. She tells Bob, as luck would have it, I'm a child custody investigator for the courts and I can help you. And Bob was thrilled. He's like, oh my God, I've hit the mother lode. This woman works with the LA County Court. She can help me get a better custody arrangement. Of course, that wasn't true, but she was in. She got to his heart. What's more important than anything to him? His 2 kids. And she got there. And over the course of the year they're dating, she unspools her a different kind of inheritance story. No family fighting. She's getting a 25 million inheritance. This is how far you can get with confidence and bravado, by the way. She gets a realtor in Orange County, your stomping ground, right? In Newport Beach. She starts touring all these $20 million homes with a realtor. And she puts an offer in on a $12 million home. And right as she puts the offer in on paper, she tells Bob, listen, I'm going to add your name to the title of this home. And Bob's like, no, 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 you can't do that. It wouldn't be fair if we break up. I'll own $6 million of your home. And she says, well, okay, to make it fair, just add my name to the title of your two homes. And she drew up the paperwork to do that. But here's why there's a God. Around that time, she's spending a lot of time with Bob. She's living in his house in Newport Beach. She's around his kids. His ex-wife starts getting curious. Who is this Mayor Smith? Who is this Mayor Smith around my kids? Let me Google her. And by then, I had started the blog. And by then, I'd heard from a few other victims and had updated the blog. And by then, I had a picture of Bob because Mayor had texted me when we were friends. This is the guy I'm dating, Bob. I think I like him. So all I knew is that he's Bob. He's in Newport Beach. I didn't have a last name. I didn't have anything. So that was one of my blog posts. Like, this is Bob. I guarantee you he's getting scammed. If you know him, warn him. You know, so the ex-wife is reading this blog and freaking out. She calls Bob. She's like, we have to meet. The ex-wife prints out the blog, meets with Bob, hands it to him. He doesn't believe it. He says, there's no way this is true. He goes home with the blog, the printed blog in his hand, and he goes, and Mare is living at his house at that time, and he shows it to her. And according to Bob, she doesn't say a word. She just turns around, runs out of his house, jumps into her car, and drives away. He never sees her again. But all of a sudden, 10 years of all of his tax returns and financials are missing from his cabinet in his office in his house. So she took him. But that's what professionals do when you confront them. They either turn it back on you and say, you're the aggressor, I'm the victim, or they just disappear. They run the other way. So after I realized I was conned, I went to police. Police turned me away. I started my own investigation. And I built such a sprawling, impressive criminal case that police could not ignore. And they eventually, a year later, filed charges. And a year after that, there was a trial. But the brilliance of my con artist and the brilliance of every con artist, you never assume you might be winning, but that could change on a dime, because a month before the criminal trial, she files a restraining order against me, right? Like, anyone can file a restraining order. And I write about this in the book. It's called chivalry theory, right? This was surmised by a sociologist back in the 1950s. Basically, the law, lawyers, judges, police officers, authority figures, they are pre-programmed through culture and society to treat women in a chivalrous way. Women for the same crime get less sentences, sometimes no sentences. Women get believed. Like, if it's between a man and a woman and the woman says he hit me, the judge is going to believe the woman. So in this case, I get this restraining order filed against me a month before trial, and I tell the prosecutor about it. I'm like, hey, thinking he can help me. I'm like, hey, she filed this restraining order. They're saying I'm trying to kill her. And the prosecutor tells me, well, there's nothing I can do. I mean, if this restraining order goes through, you won't be allowed in court to testify, but we can have you testify over video. I'm like, what's a jury going to think if big bad wolf Johnathan Walton's not allowed in court? Like, that's going to kill my case. And he's like, well, it doesn't help. I'm like, so he tells me to hire a lawyer. And thank God I hired a lawyer who is somewhat shady, and I'm grateful for that shadiness because I needed it and I used it. He says to me, listen, the only reason I found out about the restraining order is because I got an advertisement from another lawyer. Like, there are lawyers who just comb the courthouse records every day and they send out their ads for all the restraining orders. Hey, you need help defending yourself against this restraining order. So that's what happened to me, thank God, because I hadn't been served this restraining order yet. The lawyer explained to me, listen, you're in luck. No one served you this. So she's going to try to serve it, just don't answer the door. And I'm like, is it that easy? He's like, yeah, just go through the back way. Don't answer the door. So for the 4 weeks leading up to the trial, my husband and I would come and go through our back entrance, and at all hours of the morning and night, we started getting knocks on the door. And thank God the lawyer had warned me. He said, listen, a lot of these process servers are off-duty sheriff's deputies. So if you see a sheriff's deputy at your door, don't answer it. They're trying to serve you. And sure enough, sheriff's deputies start banging on my door at all hours of the day and night for 4 weeks. And we just cower inside. We're scared, but we don't answer. And eventually the criminal trial started and the restraining order never got served. But I wouldn't be talking to you today if it did, because that's reasonable doubt. She already painted the case in the trial that I'm crazy, I'm unhinged, I'm in love with her, I'm making up all these stories. I'm a reality producer, which is true. I am. I'm making a documentary, which is true. It was. But I didn't make up that she conned me. And I didn't get all these people to lie. So eventually, the jury deliberates for 3 hours. She gets convicted. Judge sentences her 5 years in jail. She gets out early in 2 years because of COVID. You know, they're in California. They let a lot of nonviolent prisoners go. And she disappears into the ether. I do the podcast, Queen of the Con. I start hearing from victims all over the place, like, hey, she's my new neighbor. She's up here in Maine. Hey, I just saw her at the gas station. Hey, she's at the supermarket. And they're sending me pictures and videos of her, and she has no idea. And even victims she's scamming have no idea. She has no idea that they're recording evidence for me. And what am I doing with that evidence? I'm sending it to Northern Ireland, because by then I had heard from a police detective in Northern Ireland who saw my blog, and he's like, we've been looking for this woman for 10 years. And now we know she's in LA. We're going to start extradition proceedings. This is back in 2017. Extradition seemed like an impossibility. But over the years, every time I find a new victim, I'd say, hey, Northern Ireland police guy, here's more evidence. She's still scamming. She's still scamming. When is the extradition happening? He's like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's a lot of paperwork. And it is a lot of paperwork, because she did get extradited. In February of last year, 5 U.S. Marshals showed up to an Airbnb. She was living out of Airbnbs because I guess deep down she knew she was not safe. But one of the victims had sent me the Airbnb she was living at, and I sent that to police in Northern Ireland, and that's the address they got her at. So she's now been sitting in a jail cell in Northern Ireland awaiting trial, which now has been pushed to September 1st.
Wow. Are you going to go?
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've changed my ticket 5 times. They keep pushing it. It was scheduled for November of last year, then December, then February, then June, and now it just got pushed to September. So like I'm up like $1,500 in flight change fees. I should have bought the refundable ticket. I regret it.
Wow. So in the process of making this podcast series, which thank you, you've included me in it, and I really appreciate it. It has been such fun, such fun.
Thank you.
Do you just feel like between this and the book, what's that feeling like? You thought that you were scamming me, girl, but I got you.
You know, it is that, but more than that, I hear from victims all the time about how much I've inspired and helped them. And more importantly, I've heard from almost victims, right? I got this email from this college professor in Georgia. I'm not going to give you her name because she wants to be anonymous. She doesn't want to talk about it publicly. I've asked her. She thanked me profusely. She said, thanks for sharing your story about what happened with Mayor, because this woman in my life was doing the same exact thing to me. And then there was the ask for money, the emergency. And I almost fell for it. But now I cut ties with her. Thank you. These red flags are so obvious when I point them out. You know, it's similar to if you're walking down the street and people are passing, you don't notice anything. But if I tell you, hey, look out for the guy with glasses and a hat. Now you're walking down the street, people are passing. You can spot the guy with glasses and a hat. I just told you about it. It's the same thing. These 14 red flags, I'll go through them really quickly. Red flag number 1, they just want to help. Red flag number 2, they are too kind, too quick. They wine and dine you. Red flag number 3, the drama starts. Drama. They invent drama. They hinge on your drama, because once you have this drama happening in your life, you are distracted and you will make bad decisions. Red flag number 4, they isolate you. And it is so easy to isolate you. Hey, you know what so-and-so said about you? She said you're a bitch. Now, all of a sudden, you hate this woman who you think said you're a bitch. She didn't say that. But are you ever going to walk up to her and say, hey, did you call me a bitch? No, you're just going to believe what the con person says. You're not going to talk to that woman anymore. Con artists try to talk you out of people who would talk you out of going along with the con. They want to keep you away from them.
Everyone knows that feeling, wanting to experience more stories, but struggling to find the time. That's where Audible changes everything. With over 1 million audiobooks and Audible originals, there's a story waiting to spark anyone's imagination. Take The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, the gripping psychological thriller that's keeping listeners on the edge of their seats. Imagine unraveling its mysteries during your morning commute, or losing yourself in its twists and turns while doing household chores. That's the magic of Audible. It transforms daily routines into opportunities for thrilling discoveries. The best part? Members get access to thousands of included titles, with new content added regularly. From bestsellers to hidden gems, every genre imaginable is at their fingertips. And with one easy-to-use app, switching between favorites or discovering new passions has never been simpler. There's more to imagine when you listen. Start a free 30-day Audible trial and get your first audiobook free at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
Tough to believe Domino's has never had stuffed crust pizza until now, right? Well, it's here. and it's delicious. It's stuffed with melty cheese, baked with melty cheese, and sprinkled with garlic seasoning and real Parmesan. Yep, that's even more cheese. Order Domino's new Parmesan stuffed crust pizza for $10.99 each when you mix and match 2 or more items. Price is higher for some locations. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Delivery orders subject to local store's delivery charge. 2-item minimum. For additional terms and conditions, visit Domino's.com.
Red flag number 5. I'm better than you. This is a ploy every con artist uses. They immediately want you to be impressed by them. They're going to show you how great they are at their job. They're going to show you all these accomplishments. They're going to make you feel you are lucky to know them. I call it I'm better than you. Red flag number 6, we spoke about technology. They use digital screens to sell their story. They'll show you bank account information, but it's all fake. It's easy to Photoshop anything and show you on a phone or a computer screen. Be suspicious. Red flag number 7, scarcity. This is an element where they get you to act fast. There's an emergency that's happening on this date. If it's an investment scam, this company's going public, but you got to be in by Monday. So, you want to make a lot of money. So you want to give the con your money by Monday, and then you're going to get a story. After the money exchanges hands, it's one story after the other. Red flag number 8, we talked about beak wedding, where love scams, investment scams, any kind of scam, they'll show you a little money up front to make you feel confident in continuing. Remember, con artist is short for confidence artist because they can build confidence. That's their game. They need you to be confident in them. Red flag number 9, and this is a good one, especially with Jen Shaw. We did this in Queen of the Con. A good day job. Just because someone has a good day job does not mean they're not a con artist. The day job is a cover. I've investigated cases where the con artist works in the mayor's office and she's scamming vulnerable, older, retired widows, and no one's doing anything about it because she has this air of legitimacy. She works at the mayor's office, but con artists are everywhere. So don't think just because so-and-so has a good day job. My con artist worked at a travel agency, Pacific Islands Travel. And, she was the best seller of vacations in the whole United States to Pacific Islands. But that wasn't true. She was just trying to make me believe she's really good at her job. Red flag number 10 I write about, wires. Never send a wire. If someone is asking you to send them a wire, take a step back, see if any other red flags are there, because con artists love to get large sums of money through wires. And this is another great red flag. Red flag number 11, they move around a lot. Most people, like you or I, most people average 11 different addresses in a lifetime. In a lifetime, you'll move 11 different places. Mare, she had 46 different addresses by the time I met her. 46! So either she's working in the military or she's scamming people, because the thing of it is, once they're discovered, and ultimately they all are, they got to move on. They can't stay there anymore. Their job is conning people. Their cover is blown. They move on to the next town. Listen, there are 400 million people in the United States. Lots of places to go and scam new victims. Red flag number 12, stories from faraway places. You meet this new person. They're telling you all these stories from faraway places. I did this in Ireland. I did this in Australia.
I lived in Italy. I dated someone for the FBI. Yes.
Exactly. And here's the thing, the magic of stories from faraway places. They're hard to prove false, right? And human nature being what it is, if you can't prove something is false, you're that much more likely to accept it as true. So that is their currency, stories from faraway places. So again, any one of these red flags individually doesn't really mean anything, but when they start piling up, 3 or 4 of them, you're talking to a real life con artist. Red flag number 13, we talked about TMI, where they snow you with personal details and they trust you with their dark secrets because they're trying to get your dark secrets. And the final red flag number 14, I call it the Dale Carnegie techniques. You've heard of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a famous book. It sold 90 million copies and started a revolution in self-help. Well, How to Win Friends and Influence People is every con artist handbook. And I'm not saying, because I don't want to get sued, that Dale Carnegie is helping con artists scam people, but they are using his techniques, And Mare did this with me, and I didn't notice it until I started researching and becoming kind of an expert in this space. Mare would use my name frequently when she was talking to me or when she was texting with me, Johnathan, blah, 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 and Johnathan, blah, blah. And I always noticed when she did it, but I shrugged it off as, oh, that's just her conversation style. No, No, it's a bona fide Dale Carnegie technique. He writes in his book, a person's name to that person is the sweetest sound they've ever heard. And if you're trying to win friends and influence people, use their name to them a lot. Mare did that to me, and she used a bunch of the other Dale Carnegie techniques. He talks about getting props and putting on theatrics to convince people. And my God, she had this framed Irish Constitution hanging on her living room wall with parchment paper. That was a hell of a prop. And she'd point to the bottom and say, that's my great-great-grandfather, the signatory, like the founder of Ireland. You know, they use props. So my purpose for writing the book is to help people not get scammed. And the last 2 chapters, I talk about how to push back against police if you do get scammed. You know, pitching a criminal case to police is like pitching a television show to a network executive. You have to make it sexy. If you've been scammed, you can't just go to police and, oh, I got scammed. They don't care. You know, they got people who are dead, raped. They got robberies to deal with. You're crying, they're going to send you to civil court and tell you it's not a crime, but they're wrong. It is a crime. They just don't want to deal with it. So before you go to police, you got to get your ducks in a row. And I lay this out step by step in the last 2 chapters. You've got to organize your evidence. You got to organize a story. You got to get witness statements. You got to do a lot of the footwork. You got to tell a compelling story where you're the protagonist and there's a beginning, middle, and an end. And you need proof of the exchange of the money, bank records, phone records, texts, emails, and organize everything. I teach people how to write up an affidavit. It's really easy. But again, you just got to know how to do it. I'll show you.
One other thing that I feel like con artists do is they occupy so much of your time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're consuming. They're very good at like just spending so much time in your life, texting you, calling you. They need to grab you to tell you about one of their crazy stories. So when you look back in reflection, you sometimes think, oh my God, they occupied so much of my time.
That's true. And I didn't know that she had a plan in mind. I thought I was really being there for her. But no, it was just a huge time and energy suck. And as much as I used to think for a couple of years there, I thought I got over it. You know, I thought this is in the past. I'm a better man now. I'm glad it happened. I'm over it. But I'm in a studio the other day because I had to record the audiobook. It took me like a week to record the audiobook. And there were 3 times where I just started crying, like I had to stop. And in that moment, I am so angry at myself because I'm like, how the fuck is this still bothering me? Like, man up, Johnathan. Like I'm angry at what happened in the past and I'm remembering it because I'm writing about it. And then I'm angry at myself for being angry and hurt. It's like, no, I mean, you never get over it.
You never get over it.
No. When I start talking about the details, it enrages me. You know, I got to talk myself off the ledge still.
And it's hard to explain the story to other people because they will never understand how deeply painful it is unless it also happens to them.
Exactly. Because it's not just about the money. It's 4 years of my life that I wasted. My time, my love. It was my love and care, like helping this woman, you know?
And you have to make sure that you don't allow what they did to you to dim your light.
Thank you. Yeah, I am not. And that's the book and the podcast of why I'm sharing my story when most people don't. Because ultimately, I think I can help a lot of people. I think I have helped a lot of people. I hear from them thanking me about, once I point out these techniques, and I have this fantasy that I go over again and again in my mind, knowing what I know now, if I met her today, would I know she's a con artist?
You would.
And the answer is within 10 minutes.
Yep.
Because she was just waving all the freaking flags out of the gate, the offer to help, the too kind, too quick, the drama, the stories from faraway places. I would have been suspicious. So what would I have done? I would have ran her through my background check sites, right? I subscribed to 3 of them. And nothing would have come up under Mare Smith. Why? Because that's not her real name. And that would have made me go, I wonder what her real name is. What would I have done? I would have snapped a picture of her license plate. I would have ran her plate. I would have found her real name, Marianne Elizabeth Smith, and her birth date. I would have ran that name and found her past, her criminal charges for fraud, grand theft in Tennessee and Florida. And I would have never talked to her again. So I would have figured it out pretty quick. But I was a naive person. If someone says they have lupus, you believe them. They have cancer, you believe them. I'm from I'm from Ireland. Okay. Like, who's lying about that? Professional con artists.
Yeah, like my dad. I think too, you have to have all kinds of friend archetypes in your orbit. And you have to have the friend who is the skeptic, like myself, like you now, who can kind of check for you, because I don't want people who are really positive and warm and loving and generous to change that about themselves. But you need a friend like us to go, I just met this person. What do you think? And you have to accept what they have to say. And that's hard for many people, but really it will save you so much time. And the other thing I wanted to say is the very best things that have happened to me have been born out of me being angry about something.
Yeah, very true. It's a great motivator.
It's a great motivator. So you have to kind of find a way to shift your anger into purpose. Like, absolutely. And in your case, I'm not going to let this happen to someone else. I'm going to arm people with information. And that has been the best retaliation for you, I'm sure, is that she screwed with the wrong person. And now she must rue the day that she ever began a conversation with you.
Yes, I agree. And that's the kind of guy that I am, and I've always been. You know, just the other day, I'm driving in downtown early morning, and there's one of these scooters in the middle of the road, and I miss it. I nearly hit it, but I miss it. My first thought is someone's going to hit that and hurt themselves. So I pull over, I run into the road, I take the scooter out of the road, because I don't want someone, I don't know who's going to hit it. I know someone is, and I don't know them, but that doesn't matter. I don't want another human being to suffer because of something I could have done to prevent it, So that's how I've been. And that is what she used to target me. But ultimately, that is also what put her behind bars.
Love it. Well, are you still working on podcast series? Because I'm assuming that you're still getting flooded with, I feel like I send Eliza suggestions all the time to this day about potential subjects.
Yes. Well, I actually started my own podcast channel, Johnathan Walton Media, and my first series is up. It's called Cocaine Air. Cocaine Air, highly recommend it. And here's the clincher. I became friends with Pablo Escobar's main cocaine smuggler. And he only became a cocaine smuggler because he was the victim of not one, but two con artists. It changed him. It changed him, and it set him on a path of revenge that ultimately culminated with him getting into smuggling drugs and becoming, he was making, $5 million a week back in mid-1980s, smuggling coke for Pablo Escobar. So that is my first podcast. It's up, 7 episodes are up now, Cocaine Air. It's a crazy, crazy story, but just like my crazy story, it started with a con. Mm-hmm. It changes you.
Totally. Where can people pre-order the book?
It's available anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, anywhere you can order a book, just search Anatomy of a Con Artist.
And where can people follow you?
Queen of the Con on Instagram, @Queen of the Con. I'm still Queen of the Con, baby.
Still Queen of the Con. Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you. Thanks for having me on.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Johnathan Walton, and remind you to make sure that you click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Join the Facebook group, Reality Life with Kate Casey. You can get my weekly What to Watch list at katecasey.substack.com. Also, make sure you check out bonus episodes, which are available on Patreon at patreon.com/Kate Casey, and also on Apple Podcasts. And follow me on social media. My Instagram is @KateCaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Twitter Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back on Monday for an all-new What to Watch episode.
Wherever you go, whatever they get into, from chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredeliaQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.